A very warm welcome to GMT. Now, we're going to bring you some live pictures at the very start of this half hour. We can go to a place very close to the scene of the Tower Block blaze, and we can see there Her Majesty the Queen, who is visiting one of the emergency relief centres very close to the Tower Block in West London, in the London Borough of Kensington. She's talking there, of course, to emergency services officials. It is a visit that we were aware of earlier this morning. It, of course, is surrounded by some security, as the Queen has to be. But we are able to bring you these pictures. Of course, it will be meaningful to the many people who have lost everything in that fire. The police say a criminal investigation is now underway. There's been much speculation about the death toll, and we now know, according to police sources, that as many as 76 people who have been missing from the Grenfell Tower in West London may be assumed to have died in that blaze. We knew officially that 17 people were acknowledged officially as dead as a result of the fire, but that number is clearly going to rise higher, and the number now being used by officials is 76. Now, we do not know whether that includes all of those who are currently listed as missing, but it is clear the fatality number is horrifying. And there we see the pictures of Her Majesty the Queen as she makes her way to meet some of the local people affected by that terrible blaze which broke out in the early hours of Wednesday morning. We should remember, of course, that the Prime Minister, Theresa May, and the leader of the Labour Party opposition, Jeremy Corbyn, were there yesterday. And it is fair to say that residents, local people, those affected by the fire, have so many questions to ask of the authorities about what happened, how it happened, why it happened. But there we go. The Queen is there offering her comfort today. We'll bring you more pictures throughout the programme as we get them, as we continue to analyse what happened in West London. Now, let's return to our top story today. That, of course, is the fallout from that catastrophic fire in the Tower Block in West London, which broke out in the early hours of Wednesday morning. A few moments ago, the Queen and Prince William arrived close to the site of that terrible fire to visit emergency services and volunteers who are helping all of those people made homeless in the tragedy. The London Fire Commissioner has warned that firefighters trying to rescue residents were in tears as they conducted their operations and could now face psychological issues in the future. Lucy Massoud is a firefighter and union official at the Fire Brigade's Union London branch, and she described the distressing scenes that some of her colleagues had witnessed.
I've been in the job for 10 years. I've been to many fires and high-rise buildings. These fires do not spread in the manner that this fire did in the early hours of Tuesday morning. It's absolutely unprecedented. As firefighters, we put our lives on the line every day. That's part and parcel of the job, you know, and we're happy to do that. You know, I've heard witness accounts of people saying that as they were running out of the building away from the danger, of course, we as firefighters were running into the building towards the danger, and that's what we do. You know, emotionally, as firefighters, we put up walls, emotional walls, you know, so we're not too badly affected by these kind of incidences, because if we were, we wouldn't be able to effectively do our jobs. But, you know, something on this scale, it's just, you know, absolutely unprecedented. We've never seen anything even close to this. So I do worry for my firefighters. I do worry for our members. We will hold the London Fire Brigade to account. They said that they will support the firefighters, and we believe them.
We're going to stay with the Tower Block fire story, and to get the very latest news from very close to the scene, we're going to join our correspondent again, Mark Lowen, who's in Kensington in West London. Mark, I know, I've just been looking at a monitor. I know the Queen is still inside a building talking to emergency service officials, volunteers and others. Just describe for me the impact that you get a sense of the meaning for local people of the Queen making this visit this morning.
I think there will be relief at her coming. There will be a sense of comfort, Stephen, certainly after the anger that many here have voiced that Theresa May, the Prime Minister, did not come and see the victims yesterday on her private visit, although we have now been told from Downing Street that she will go to one of the hospitals to speak to some of those injured. We have updated figures on the numbers of those still injured. 24 people are still in hospital from this fire, from this tragedy. 12 of them are critical. They're in 4 different hospitals. And we still know that at least 17 people have been killed, but the police telling us that the true scale of this tragedy may never be known, because just look behind me here at that tower. You can see just the incredible devastation, and of course you can imagine just how difficult it is for the painstaking work from the police and from forensics teams inside there to try to piece together an accurate picture of the identities of those caught up, especially in the higher floors, which are more difficult to reach. We've had sniffer dogs here this morning. We know that the teams are using DNA records, they're using dental records and fingerprints and papers to try to get a sense of just how many people have been affected. But so there is tragedy, there is anger, and there is also, Stephen, immense fear from neighbours, from those in other big tower blocks here. I spoke to one lady who's lived in a neighbouring tower block for 20 years. It also only has one staircase, no central sprinkler system, no central alarm system. So they are also extremely worried about the fire safety regulations in the thousands of buildings spread across this country.
Indeed, and we know that emergency inspections are going to be implemented now in tower blocks across the country. But you talk about anger, Mark, and it is very important to reflect the feelings of local people and those involved in this tragedy. There's talk, I think, of a protest march, or a march for sort of justice, as they're putting it, later on today in Kensington. Do you know anything about that? Have you heard anything about that?
We've heard some rumours that there is something being organised to try to vent the anger of people. We've had people here heckling the media already this morning. People, of course, trying to hit out, very frustrated that their warnings about the fire safety regulations of the building were not heeded earlier. So yes, you can imagine that that is going to bubble and perhaps come together into a protest march later on today.
Indeed. Well, Mark, thank you so much for joining us from very close to that horrible scene. A grim reminder of what happened in the early hours of Wednesday. That's pretty much it for this edition of GMT. But